You're listening to The Real Estate Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group at Keller Williams Realty Boise at 580 KIDO. We continue on. Chris is with us, and joining us now is Burton Friesz, Burton Friesz Kitchen and Bath Remodeling. Burton, good to have you with us.
Well, thank you.
And Chris, certainly we have a lot to talk about when we're talking about new construction versus traditional construction versus just the highly competitive home market that we're so accustomed to.
Yeah, there's no question about it. One of the biggest things we're discussing at the break here is that I wanted to touch on is homeowners, resale versus new. And you look at what's going on with new construction, and if you haven't opened your eyes and looked around and seen what's going on, it's obvious, it's very apparent that new construction is making a huge push. What I wanted to discuss and tell people out there, we get people calling us all the time and list our house. We go out, we take a look, and there's wear and tear. And when you talk about like what Burton does for a living, typically what we like to do is we give people advice. Some people take it, some people don't. And the fact of the matter is, I really wish they would take our advice. And when we work with guys like Burton, I trust Burton. Burton gives a fair price. He's clean. He does a great job. His guys are great. And he kind of stays out of your way so you can live your life. We can get the house on the market and get it sold. My point being, when we come in, we give you some advice, whether it's hardwood floors that have been scratched up by a dog, your moldings have been dinged up by your kids messing around or whatever. And the point is, we have Burton, and I want to discuss this with Burton a little bit. When we do go out there, people get such a higher value for their house. So if they go in and we give them some advice and they spend $5,000 or $6,000 with Burton, it's going to be almost every time it's dead on. It's a reflection. The people that don't spend the money, they're calling me going, Chris, how come we're not getting, even though we've been getting showings, how come we're not getting offers? Because you can't see that stuff in photos online. So you're still going to get the showings. The point being that when Burton says, hey, look, we really need to remodel, we need to refinish these wood floors or whatever we're doing, or we do the kitchen or whatever it is, the value is, and I wouldn't even put a number, Burton. I mean, what do you think the number is? If you're putting this money into the house, what do you think that the value coming back is? If you're putting $5,000, is it 10, 15, 20,000?
I think it's going to, whatever you're putting in there, it's going to come on the table sometime. I mean, if you don't make the repairs or you spruce up what's obviously going to be on an inspection list, you're going to pay on the backside. You're going to lose it in the value of the house. I don't know that I can put a percentage on it, but I know if you put, $1,800 or $2,200 into a home that just needs that sprucing up, all those items are now off the table, not an area of discussion when you're trying to, close on a price.
Well, he's exactly right, Kevin. We discussed this. We talk about it is opposition, and what ends up happening is the biggest thing is when you walk into new construction, right? It's perfect. I mean, the only foot traffic is maybe from the parade of homes. Who knows? But those places are immaculate, and that's your competition. And we talk about Burton is opposition. That's what we're trying to get rid of. So the more opposition we can get rid of, the higher price we're going to get for the house. You know what I mean?
No,
well,
I agree with you.
There's a tip, that I try to give people if they're planning to move, obviously, and they have all this stuff that's just in the way. It's clutter. It's been collecting for 20 years in the garage or in the closets or even around the living room, and they're going to either have to move it or throw it away or sell it at a garage sale. But why not do that before you list your house? Get the space opened up, make it look pretty again. And I think when we live in our own homes, we look past so much stuff. We just don't see it anymore. We've seen it for so long, it almost is invisible now.
Right.
But a new person coming in is going to see, the faded carpet by the window that, and that kind of stuff's just going to come back to bite you later. Might as well fix it now.
Well, there's no question about it, too. And Kevin, we discussed these different areas, and I understand. We don't go into $100,000 listing and go, hey, you need to put $20,000 into your house. Maybe for a flipper, like you were talking about at the break. But for the most part, when we discussed with Burton, and I really want to kind of hammer this point through, is what the effect of new construction is having on resale, and it's a fact. If you look at pricing wise of new construction, and you look at the dollar amount, you look at all the sold units. The average price is $152,000. New construction's $202,000. So you look at you're looking at 25%, more, per dollar per square foot or whatever that new construction is getting versus resale. It's just a fact. And so my point with Burton is when we send him out there is we not only do I promote Burton and believe in his product and what he does, but the fact of the matter is I kind of want to hammer that point through, tell people, say, you know what, yeah, no one wants to spend the money. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, Burton, we discussed this too, but you do bring a lot of value to the homeowner.
Yeah, it's marketing, really. I mean, if you think about it, that's the product that you're selling is the home, and the better you can present it, that's just marketing. So cleanliness is huge. Just the simple things like recaulking, having the carpets cleaned, now, getting the stretch marks out of the carpet, getting everything tight again, making sure the entry's clean, and the landscaping walking up to the home. Those kind of things are really simple. A lot of folks could do them themselves. If they don't have time, we'd be glad to do that for them, too.
Right. And I'm just kind of looking at this paper we talked about yesterday. You and I met and talked about the show and everything, what we're doing. But talk a little bit about, for me, and, it's Kevin, we discussed this, too. It's a scary number when people look at a kitchen remodel or anything like this. What, in your opinion, it has the biggest impact of? I know what mine is. We talked. You and I discussed yesterday. We discussed, elevation, the first view you get from outside the house. But from there, inside the house, what do you feel is the biggest impact?
Yeah, that family room, kitchen area, it's one of the first things you see when you walk in, and where the time's going to be spent, especially for the lady of the house. So that's an important thing, and it's a place that you're going to be proud of to entertain in, too. So I know you're thinking when you walk into her home, that's, how would I feel here? How proud would I be of this? As a buyer, what's my emotion in this?
Sure.
And it's just so important that first impression. And we're not talking like we have to go in and remodel a whole kitchen, just a nice tune-up and get everything working good and clean and, the grease marks off the back of the backsplash and those kind of things. Some recaulking can just make a huge difference and brighten everything up, and a little bit of staging.
Right. Well, for example, my we've been having kind of not an issue, but our house and has been lived in by our 4 small kids, and we've just been discussing kind of what to do, and we have some issues with just in general, like when Burton was out at the house and we discussed the master bath, we had some issues with it, and we talked about retiling it, and you get the number and you look at the number and you're like, oh my goodness, it's exhausting, and right now with what's going on with the economy and everything, you don't want to spend the money. But my point is, the money that we're going to put into Burton Friesz Remodel, the number he gives you is going to be a fair number, and I always discuss this and kind of put my stamp of approval on him, but just the process you go through with Burton from the point that where you go, you know what, hey, we're going to pull the trigger and we're going to fix this kitchen before we put it on the market, or just in general, if you want to fix the kitchen anyway, the kids just moved out finally and you can do these things. The thing with Burton, as I always say, you're going to get is he's going to be clean, he's trustworthy. Tester always talks about the tail light warranty.
Right.
You don't get that with Burton. I've worked with Burton for some time now, and I've never had one of my clients ever call it and say.
Well, that's important when you're talking trust someone coming into your home to remodel, and again, you're trusting them to add value to your home.
Well, it's a big thing, and Burton, I kind of wanted you to touch base on kind of from the point when someone says, "Hey, let's pull the trigger on this thing, and let's do the kitchen." And you know what? Hey, Burton, I'm sitting down talking to you, and me and my wife are talking to you, and I said, I have 4 kids under 7, and these kids are going to be home for the summer. I can't just force them to go, to be gone. So kind of walk us through the process of how you deal with these situations.
Well, first and foremost, I sometimes have to force people to make decisions and start with a really good plan and have no guessing going on in a remodel project.
You force them?
Well, you have to. in a very kind, diplomatic way. We need to figure this out and not get started on a project before all the items and details have been figured out. That is so important.
Right. Well, and you discussed this too, the cleanliness portion of it. I've been through it. I've been through a remodel. I've been through a full remodel, and I've had good, bad, indifferent, whatever contractors. But the fact of the matter is, the biggest thing when you deal with the stuff is it's dirty, and it can be extremely dirty. Which means I'm talking about you go do a small kind of remodel in one of your bathrooms. And next thing you know, you have dust upstairs in your kid's bathroom. And that's kind of what I wanted you to discuss a little bit there, too.
Yeah, the first thing on my bid sheet when I'm looking at a project as a reminder to myself is, protecting, setup, protect, and dust control. And so that's the first thing we do when we walk in a home. We determine our point of entry and exit where stuff's going to be coming and going, and we protect that and the door jambs and the floorway, and we pick all that stuff up every night, put it back every morning. And put up, plastic dust control, completely airtight, sealed off. We control the HVAC system to make sure it's not pulling bad air into the other part of the home.
Right.
I mean, anything that we can think of that's going to cause an inconvenience. Well, we've been doing this so long, I think I've got it covered.
Yeah, and I know you have it covered because I've seen your product, and you do a lot of work for my personal clients and me personally. again, let's just touch base too, so you can tell them how do they reach out to you, how do they get to your website, and your phone number.
Sure. Actually, you can just burtonsremodel.com. Or call me directly at 208-447-8651. You can also find us on Facebook. Got a wonderful website, lots of before and afters if you're looking for ideas or want to get a clue of what we're capable of doing. And I kind of warn people, we always put our nicest stuff out there on the website. So some folks think that we won't do a simple job, but we do plenty of very simple jobs. We do those well.
Right, and you know, one thing we can do, Kevin, too. I talk to people too. What we like to do, just like with the builder, you know. How do you trust the builder what you're going to get?
Sure.
So someone just says, I can build you this fantastic house. And the fact of the matter is, if somebody really, wants to, a lot of people just, want to know for sure that the job is going to be right. Burton has tons of clients that we can get you in that are also my past clients, that if you want to talk to them or if you want to get, testimonial from somebody, what the work that Burton has done, you can also contact us directly, contact us at clgeagle.com. Me personally, 514-5003, and we can get you in touch with Burton as well. Or you can go on the website, and then we have a net. What's our on the website? What's the little link there we have for our contacts? Anyway, go on our website and take a look at it under resources, and you click on resources, and basically it has preferred partners, and under there you'll see Burton. You can get a direct link to Burton's website there as well, and you can click on that. You also see an array of other guys that we put the Chris Lofthus Group stamp of approval on. But I just think it's a big deal, sure. Kevin. You got a lot of these guys around here that have been around it, and they're not to bag on anybody, but they honestly don't know what they're doing.
Well, we would never bag on anybody, but anyway. You're listening to The Real Estate Show featuring Chris Lofthus of the Chris Lofthus Group at Keller Williams Realty Boise, right here at 580 KIDO.